By now, Trump should be used to losing.
Shortly after Haley's win, former President Trump responded, dubbing Haley the Queen of the Swamp.
When he lost to Nikki Haley in the D.C. primary, he said, "I intended to lose," which surprises no one. Haley kicked his ass in a city where old-school Republicans still live, work, and coexist with Democrats.
We're getting rid of the Romneys of the world. We want to get Romneys and those out.
After getting whooped 63% to half of that, Grandpa Fruit Loops tweeted his usual insane response.
I purposely stayed away from the D.C. vote because it is a swamp with very few delegates and no upside. Bird Brain spent all of her time and money and effort over there.
By the way, Bird Brain, come on, dude.
Over the weekend, we won Missouri, Idaho, and Michigan. Big numbers. Complete destruction of a very weak opponent. The really big numbers will come on Super Tuesday, also way up on Crooked Joe.
I have a friend who's a shrink, and when she's not fretting about a future with Trump in it, she laughs at Tiny Finger's tremendous neurological train wrecks. When Trump says big numbers, it's overcompensation for something else.
I also happen to call him a lightweight, okay, and I have said that, so I would like to take that back. He's really not that much of a lightweight. He hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. I've never heard of this one. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it.
But his practice of calling people names is an odd combination of mental illness combined with a brilliant targeting of America's underbelly.
I love the poorly educated.
Trump attacks like a 12-year-old boy, and it resonates with his base.
Crooked Hillary. Lion Ted.
Pocahontas.
Little Marco.
Donald wakes up at night in cold sweats that people will call him the Losing Donald.
But like a 12-year-old boy, he is so vulnerable to one word: loser.
Well, that's the problem. If there's a president of the United States, your job is to bring people into the fold, not push people away.
When Nikki Haley implied she would stand up to Trump regardless of whether she wins the nomination, what did Trump tweet? He referred to himself in the third person, calling himself a great president.
I am the chosen one.
But do great presidents really have to call themselves great presidents? But you see, Trump has a lifetime of losing. He can't help himself. He lost in the 1980s when the Department of Justice fined him and his father for housing discrimination. He's failed at marriage twice. He's failed at business multiple times with 6 bankruptcies. He's failed at creating a charity and a university, both times resulting in court-ordered decrees he could never be allowed to run a school or a charity again. He's failed as a candidate and a president. When Trump ran in 2016 and 2020, he lost the popular vote by 6 million people. And as president, his handling of the pandemic cost an extra 600,000 Americans their lives.
The virus. They're working hard. Looks like by April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away.
While president, on Memorial Day in 2017 at National Cemetery, Trump turned to General John Kelly, his longest-serving chief of staff, as they stood among those killed in Afghanistan and Iraq. He turned to Kelly and said, "I don't get it. What was in it for them?" The Atlantic article also described Trump's 2018 visit to France for the centennial anniversary of the end of World War I, where, according to several senior staff members, Trump said he didn't want to visit the graves of American soldiers buried there because it was raining and it would mess up his hair. Trump then said, "Why should I go to the cemetery? It's filled with losers." During that same trip to France, the article reports Trump said that the 1,800 U.S. Marines killed there were suckers for getting killed. So to say Trump doesn't care if he loses is rich. He has lost appeal after appeal on the election lie and on getting cases thrown out. He lost to Gene Carroll and in New York lost a case which will cost him about $500 million.
It is a big number. It is a staggering number. In fact, it is a record number.
Judge Arthur Engeron deciding that Donald Trump is liable for $350+ million.
This is a major gut punch, as we all well know, to Donald Trump, to his legacy.
To even say it's a body blow may be an understatement.
The court has done everything short of ordering that Trump be thrown into a wood chipper.
This is really a decision that will cause a lot of pain.
Now, let me tell you this up front. Donald Trump has to pay up or appeal within this 30-day deadline. If he appeals, as he knows himself from past losses, he still has to put up huge sums of money. He has to set aside the money amount that he owes now, or get a bond for it, or put up properties as collateral. That's how it works for everybody in our legal system. Now, that huge loss on Friday is a much larger penalty than most businesses ever pay.
But the biggest loss and the biggest reveal on Trump's pathological need to win is his denial of the 2020 contest, which is actually the primer for his 91 indictments.
Entire D.C. National Guard, thousands of troops here in the nation's capital. The entire National Guard has been activated by the U.S. Department of Defense.
Had Trump accepted defeat? Had he turned over the documents to justice when they asked, as both Biden and Pence did? Had he not called the Georgia Secretary of State?
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have. So dead people voted. And I think the number is in the close to 5,000 people.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong. 2 people that were dead that voted. And so that's wrong.
The hour-long call comes after the Trump campaign lost dozens of legal challenges in several states.
Had he not sent 5,000 people
to the Capitol
to interfere with the legal process of certifying the election, he could have easily run again and wouldn't be facing months or years in jail. But that would have meant Trump would have had to say, I lost. And his tiny penis personality won't allow for that. But the biggest loss for Trump is the reason why Nikki Haley won't be backing him after he's probably nominated. Trump is destroying the Republican Party, shrinking it so quickly it may soon resemble Trump's only little friend. While Trump is accumulating delegates, the voter turnout is small. In some cases, half of what Trump received in 2020. Why? Because Laura Trump is sending every dollar to Trump.
The RNC needs to be the leanest, most lethal political fighting machine we've ever seen in American history. That is the goal over the next 9.5 months. If I am elected to this position, I can assure you there will not be any more $70,000 or whatever exorbitant amount of money it was spent on flowers. Every single penny will go to the number one and the only job of the RNC. That is electing Donald J. Trump.
Because the Republican Party is sending every dollar to Trump. And that means less for hungry GOP Trump incels in legislatures, the House, and the Senate. It's always been about Trump.
And what we've seen is the people in the Republican Party, it's shrinking because he's pushing people out of the party. That's why we have so many independents now.
Trump's pathology is easy to see. He can't admit to losing, and while that might ingratiate himself to these knuckleheads...
Are you proud of what happened here today?
Absolutely. I think we should have gone on in and yanked our senators out by the hair of the head and drug them out and said, no more.
The rest of the GOP, independents, and young voters recognize what's happening. Trump is destroying the party. Wait, let me rephrase that. Trump has allowed the party to destroy itself. And this, of course, opens the door for Democrats and others who bitch incessantly about change to actually affect change. Trump is a sociopath who cannot admit defeat and lies to the contrary whenever possible. There's an old saying, losing builds character. But that only applies to people with a modicum of mental health. As it is impossible for Trump to admit losing, it will be impossible for him to progress in every way a normal human might. You know, they say everybody has some sort of talent. Some people can sing, some people can dance, some people can tell jokes. But Donnie, no one loses like you.
Am I wrong?
Damn right.
Yes! Tick-tock!
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Follow, like, and hit notifications as Really American keeps you up to date on the latest Republican cult lie in this very important year. For Really American, I'm Chip Franklin.